Hi, welcome to DevOps and SRE Training Online. My name is Balinder Walia. Today I will cover what is observability and the concept of observability and the related topics, which are systems monitoring, synthetic monitoring, users session monitoring, performance monitoring of your applications, which is generally called APM, application performance monitoring. And what are the benefits of observability and setting up effective monitoring and observability systems to make your systems more resilient and reliable. And generally this is very important in the DevOps and SRE, to know how to monitor your systems, make sure the logging is set up correctly, effectively, and we are capturing all the information, the events and various security events, which is referred as SIEM. If you may have heard of SIEM. So we have application. Generally, we have various applications, microservices running like APIs, for example, and we can expose all these metrics through Prometheus or Grafana and various other tools. There is Elasticsearch, there's Dynatrace, there's many other application tooling which is available to set up effective observability. And we will, in this case, for example, we'll go through a simple Prometheus metrics endpoint, which is set up in Nginx, and it monitors these APIs and the traffic and various other aspects of the system. And we will also go through OpenTelemetry. OpenTelemetry is a standard way of setting up observability, which is more effective, which is understood, it's easier to maintain, and there's no vendor locking, and it's developer friendly, and it can be used to set up not only the application and infrastructure monitoring, but also the business matrix, which is very important. And we will set up a very simple Nginx application and involve OpenTelemetry, open OpenTelemetry data and monitor it, and we'll go through that. And we will use Jaeger for monitoring the traces and the spans, and try to understand the user journeys, and all these sessions we can monitor using Jaeger is a UI for OpenTelemetry data. And we will go through dashboards, alerting, and various other aspects of observability, like alarms, and how these tools make your systems more reliable and resilient, and also make your business more profitable. And Kubernetes is obviously the go-to tool for production workloads, deployments, and managing the application traffic and infrastructure, and standardizing it. So we will also look at, I have a Kubernetes cluster with 6 worker nodes. It's running various applications, and how I monitor these to make sure that the CPU usage, memory usage, and the storage usage is within the constraints of the system, and the traffic also is managed via let's go and look at that. Yeah, traffic is also managed via different dashboards. For the DNS, for example, you can monitor your nodes as well, all the Kubernetes nodes, and you can look at how many pods are running on each node, and how much memory is consumed by the pods, CPU usage by these pods, and you can look at the overall cluster. This dashboard doesn't have anything. Overall cluster, and Nginx as well, so you can monitor the logs using Prometheus, Grafana, Loki, Grafana Alloy, Dynatrace, Elasticsearch, OpenTelemetry tooling. In Kubernetes there is a built-in dashboard as well, which we can go through to monitor Kubernetes cluster. And this is more of an introduction video where I will go through the concepts so you understand observability, and in the second video I will go through the actual setup of how we can set this tooling and various applications for monitoring and logging and observability, and what is the difference between observability, site reliability, and monitoring and logging, and what are the benefits of it. So there are various systems available. As I said, there's Elasticsearch. Here is an example: logging and error dashboards, errors by host, and this is also we are able to see the hits are coming from which country or which state in US in this case, and logs by machine, the OS, and like Windows 7, OS 10, iOS traffic, and then it can show you traffic by the different platforms, users platforms being used, or devices rather, and how much bandwidth is being consumed as well. So you can see that your Nginx is able to serve X number of visitors, unique visitors per day, per hour, or you're able to change to, this is per month, but you can change it to per day, per hour. So this is one other tool, Elasticsearch, and they all actually refer to observability with different terminology maybe, but they all have the single goal of making sure you can set up your service level agreements, objectives, service level indicators. So if you're for example, if your application has some error budget and has consumed all the error budgets, and as you can see in Dynatrace, there are some performance for like matrix for this application. Easy Travel, it's an online demo from Dynatrace, you can go and check it out as well, but we can set up the error budget was maximum 5%, and 95% availability is the target, and you can see this application is in breach already because the availability is 66.666%, and expected target was 90 in this case, and this can fire an alert when the application is breached the standard set by the by the business. So and there is obviously tools like Pingdom, and this is SysOps 24/7. They can monitor your systems, applications, websites, email systems, DNS, and they can fire an alert if there is a error, and if your website is down, for example, from various different places in the world. And so let's go through and set up a very simple application which consumes these Prometheus matrix, and then we can view them in the various dashboards and set up some alerts, maybe, which can fire if certain number of APIs are hit more than expected limitation of the system. For example, it could be DDoS attack. I don't know if you know, these days those DDoS attacks are very common, and that's denial of service attack, and it starts with the overwhelming amount of requests sent to your application, and then you start to see too many requests are hitting endpoints of your application or API. Data APIs are also targeted, and what happens is your system can melt down and you can have a downtime, loss of services, loss of revenue, which is obviously not good. So you can detect that. So we can, in this case, for example, we can send some traffic to our application. So I have an application here, and I can hit this endpoint called API v2 products for 10,000 times, and you should start to see that traffic on your products API endpoint should appear here. Actually, it's already here. Now, the interesting thing is here that you'll see the spike, and the traffic starts to show here. However, we can also see that there's a HTTP status code of 401, which means this is an unauthenticated request. So that is especially very important. You can capture in Prometheus via writing a query to make sure you don't exceed more than X number of requests per second for unauthenticated APIs, because that's clearly that's a bot, right? A normal user will not be in that situation where hitting your application APIs, because they would usually log into an application and it will be an authenticated session, so you can track that. As you can see, we have started to hit average 30 requests per second, and this also should start to show what is the endpoint now. Here we go. And you can see the total bytes transferred as well start to increase, and you can put some more you can, if you wanted to, you can send some more data requests, and we can also try to send, okay, we'll have here as well, yeah, this is API products, but we can send it to users, for example, instead of products, users, different endpoint. So I'm trying to hit a different endpoint, and then this endpoint is obviously being monitored as well, the matrix one. So the one which I showed you here was this one. So as you see, the counters, number of requests for 401 are increasing as for each request, and that's what is being displayed by this dashboard here. Again, the application in this case is running on my local host, but if application is running in a Kubernetes cluster and all of a sudden you see the disk average consumption time, read and write time is starting to increase, and it put pressure on the CPU or the RAM, then you know that that needs to be looked at. And the DNS, it could be the DNS or APIs, the servers will start to become very slow. So that's another thing you can monitor, that if the application is responding too slow, users are frustrated, then you can set up your SLOs and traces and alerts. Almost all these systems, they allow you to set up alerts, rate limiting alerts, for example. If the application is in breach, you can see, okay, I haven't set this up, but this, if we look at just the query for now, we'll go into details in the next video, but you can see I can count the number of logs in certain logs, and if that exceed X number of logs in every minute, for example, it can fire an alert, it can send an email, send a message on Slack, it can send a pager using Ops Genie, or create a Jira ticket for a team, relevant team. So all these systems are combined, used to set up very effectively and increase the reliability and resilience of the systems. And in the next video, I will set up these systems. I just have to fix a few errors. I have almost finished setting up the all the tools, and we will, in the next video, we'll actually set up Nginx and OpenTelemetry, and then monitor these system matrix in a system, proper system. And we will also go through Locky. Locky is the logs management system for Nginx, and we will see the difference between the logs, matrix, and traces, spans, and various other things. So I'm just going to get Claude Sonnet 4.5 to fix a few errors for me, and there's a few 500 errors I'm seeing, and it's going to automatically restart my local development environment first, and then I will also show you how to actually set up these systems, deploy in Kubernetes, especially. Docker is I use for development, and the ultimate goal is obviously to set these up in Kubernetes and for production workloads, so that you're monitoring your applications. And hopefully this will help anybody who is interested in observability. And the end goal is, remember, health tech could be monitoring all these systems, and also monitoring the data, the matrix, to make sure the certain catastrophes can be avoided. Like I mentioned, Heathrow Airport, Brussels Airport, Germany, all these airports have been under attack by the cyber attackers, and that has caused a lot of problem. And also in health techs, the COVID caused a lot of issues and problems in the whole world. So the monitoring of the patient data can, a real-time monitoring especially, can give you a head start. And I reckon that the governments will be able to, medical institutions will be able to predict if there was any other COVID pandemic, predict within 24 hours before it actually happens. So that you can imagine the power of this observability in business, in infrastructure, in applications, online, users monitoring as well, behavior monitoring. So okay, thanks very much for your time, and I will come back with another video, more technical, more detailed, where we will set up all these systems, and hopefully with all the errors fixed, and I have some, hello world is working now. But anyway, I'll make another video, separate video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Cheers.